Something that other people don't. But he's always willing to share that info, aren't you? All right? Sometimes. Well, they said something else nice about you too, the most knowledgeable rare earths exec in the room. So would you please join me? It's a big claim to live up to. The MD of Ionic Rare Earths Limited, Mr. Tim Harrison.
Thanks for those kind words. Thanks for everyone for attending. So Ionic Rare Earths, we are developing an ionic adsorption clay project in Uganda, and looking at taking that product, rich in both magnet and heavy rare earths, into a Western supply chain. Early stages, but huge support from a number of stakeholders in developing that alternative, secure, traceable supply. And the third aspect of the business is magnet recycling, which is progressing extremely well over in the UK. This one probably gives a very good overview of just the dominance that China has in the rare earth industry, in the entire supply chain. It is a monopsony. The further you go in the supply chain, the more you have to deal with China as a customer. And so we've been working over the course of the last 18 months with several potential partners on providing an alternative option, putting our magnet and heavy rare earths into new supply chains that can help underpin manufacturing for Western end users. Fair to say that the geopolitical climate is very much heating up. We do see a lot of appetite from governments and those jurisdictions now trying to secure the molecules that they need for their manufacturing and military and defence applications. And I think probably the best way to put it is that the heavy rare earths out of the Makuutu basket is important for not only the energy transition on EVs and offshore wind turbines, but there's other elements there that are incredibly important for the development of F-35s, Virginia-class submarines, and Arleigh-Burke destroyers. So from a military complex, there is a significant drive towards getting our molecules into those supply chains. When we look at the geopolitical climate, obviously the Inflation Reduction Act, has created a huge amount of sentiment in the US. And earlier this year, with the European Critical Raw Material Act, and Ursula von der Leyen coming out and basically, making the comment that the race is on. There's simply not going to be enough molecules to go around for all of the manufacturing that's required. So there is competition now for the access to the right products, the right projects, at a big demand now for recycling, which again feeds into the opportunities that Ionic Rare Earths is exploring. If we look at the complete supply chain and everything that needs to be built with regards to rare earths, one thing to build a mine, it's another thing to build a refinery, but it's the metal making, alloy making, magnet making, which is really the laggards in the process at the moment from a Western supply chain perspective. Ionic has been working through this process now for over 12 months, trying to work through and evaluate opportunities and discussions on how we can take our products and put them into end users in Western applications. And it's a process. Everybody believes that their individual component in that supply chain is more valuable than the other. And so we're working towards getting some transparency and openness in those discussions. And I think we're slowly making very good progress. With regards to the aspects that we believe Ionic Rare Earths can play in those emerging supply chains, obviously we have a large proven ionic adsorption clay deposit in Uganda, which is near development ready. We're working on a scoping study for a refinery, which has the potential to unlock the value of our basket, and we've been working on that study for a US-based location. And the third thing, the magnet recycling is an ability to bring secondary sourced end-of-life materials, waste products from the production of magnets back into the supply chain to help with those relationships now with metal makers, alloy makers and magnet makers to provide those formative green shoots on the supply chain for ultimately a project like Makuutu to feed into. If we look a little bit more at Makuutu itself, so we've just completed a DFS on the first stage of the project. We have 6 tenements, and so this feasibility study just covers the central tenement at Makuutu, long life project, producing an amount of product that we believe that there's a market for when we're ready to produce this product in 2025. So, you know, we've done the work on defining what we think is a robust project for us to then grow substantially with the addition of extra capacity and modules to support that growing supply chain in time. The project location itself, so we're in Uganda, so 120 kilometres east of Kampala. Extremely well serviced by existing infrastructure. So we have 132 kV transmission line that runs through the tenement, supplying and exporting low-cost hydroelectric power out from Uganda into Kenya. Roads, rail available to us, mobile phone communications and water available. So as far as infrastructure goes, we have all the building blocks there for us to be able to rapidly move through construction once we get to final investment decision. Looking at our tenements and the mineralisation, so we've got about 300 square kilometres of mineralisation. The mineralisation stretches approximately 37 kilometres end to end, 3 metres of cover, and then underneath that we've got a clay zone that's anywhere from 5 to 30 metres thick. The feasibility study is on the central tenement, which is the 35-year life project that we've defined to date. Very shortly we'll be mobilising drill rigs to work on increasing the classification on the resource out on the western tenement, and also out on our eastern and northwestern tenements, where we'll be continuing to do more exploration reconnaissance drilling. To put into context, we've got a large exploration target that has the potential to double the existing resource just on this tenement alone. We drilled 25 holes, 23 came back with thick ionic adsorption clay mineralisation intercepts back in 2021. So we're keen to get out there and do more drilling here, and we've got a new prospective tenement to the northwest where we haven't drilled as yet, but we have had some very encouraging metallurgical results up to the northwest. So we're quite excited about this new northwest tenement. I suppose, you know, the thing that we're very excited about, in addition to obviously the potential of Makuutu, is the huge progress that we are having with Ionic Technologies, which is our magnet recycling subsidiary that we acquired last year. We rebranded, and we're in the process now of building a demonstration plant in Belfast. Yeah, I think the appetite now for magnet recycling is certainly growing substantially with the European Critical Raw Material Act. They've mandated that by 2030 they want 15% of what's now classified as strategic raw materials, which are the magnet rare earths, to be sourced from recycling. So we see this as being an area that's going to grow substantially, and the ability to bring on, you know, near-term production of magnet rare earths ex-China. If we look at the data that suggests the current magnet recycling probably makes up around about 40% of the total magnet rare earth supply chain. That's probably a reflection of the fact that when you make a magnet, about a third of the material that goes into making a magnet ends up as waste products that can't simply be redeployed back into making magnets via a short loop recycling. The technology offering from Ionic Technologies is a hydrometallurgical process that chemically extracts the rare earths, separates them into the individual magnet rare earth oxides, and then refines them to the high purity oxides. So we can take varying compositions of magnets, separate the individual magnet rare earth oxides and put them back into supply chain for our partners to then use that material to make a wide array of different magnet applications. Talking a little bit more about sort of the progress that we have been making in Belfast in the UK. We finalised the acquisition in April last year. The UK government gave us a grant for £1.7 million in September, and we've been rapidly working through the development of a demonstration plant in Belfast and setting up a new facility there. where we're planning on processing approximately 30 tonnes of permanent magnets, waste material, to produce 10 tonnes of oxides per annum. We've got about 50 tonnes of magnets in inventory. We think there's an ability to decouple or debottleneck, I should say, the demonstration plant. And we have had a tremendous amount of interest from various stakeholders and I suppose a growing appreciation and opportunity that's happening in Belfast, with certainly a lot of policy around the UK government's willingness to accelerate more investment in Northern Ireland, but also with regards to the appetite and availability now for European investment directly into Northern Ireland via the Windsor framework. So simply put, we're taking end-of-life materials, so waste magnets, we turn them into the oxides, separated oxides, and then we're able to provide those to our supply chain partners to turn those back into high purity magnets. Just a little bit of detail on sort of the facility that we're building, and we're very excited by this. We're in commissioning now, and we expect to be making separated oxides next month in Belfast. And so with that, the company does move to a production of rare earths, and we're able to now move forward with our supply chain engagement. If we look at sort of the timeline and what the company's been focused off, I mean, we initially took a 20% interest in Makuutu back in August 2019. And it's been the focus of a lot of work over the first few years of development at Makuutu. Added in Ionic technologies last year, and I think we've now positioned ourselves and laid a very good framework and a base for us to now, work through a number of catalysts through the rest of 2023. We are finalising now and expecting to get our mining licence application at Makuutu very shortly. Working with our partners and stakeholders there, with the Ugandan government. We've got appetite now for post the completion of the feasibility study, certainly a heightened level of engagement from the supply chain now and getting access to our product, and where that product could potentially go in the supply chain over the next 2 years. And coupling that with the progress that we're making with Ionic technologies, probably an opportunity to greatly accelerate our supply chain engagement through the rest of 2023. Just to finish off where we are, just the corporate snapshot. Market cap's around about $100 million. I mean, rare earth prices have probably pulled back about 60% over the course of the last 12 months. Through the development of our project, and people in this room probably very familiar with the Lassonde curve. We expect that coming out of the feasibility study now, close to making an investment decision, but also being a near-term producer of magnet rare earths, we do expect in the near term the potential for a significant re-rate. And just to leave you with, I suppose, the value proposition, it's a large proven ionic adsorption clay deposit, near development ready. It's the only product that's near development ready that's not committed to China. So with that, an opportunity for us to be one of the early movers in Western supply chains, especially for supplying heavy rare earths to end users in those Western jurisdictions. Makuutu will get larger with time. We've got a lot of exploration potential, a modular development, low capital, producing a magnet heavy rare earth product with no radionuclides. And that affords us the ability to look at a lot of different other ways in which we can monetize the mixed rare earth carbonate that'll be produced at Makuutu. And, with the exposure now to magnet recycling, we are at the pointy end now of being able to meaningfully engage on the supply chain. So thank you very much for your time. We're at booth 55, and welcome any catch-ups later today. Thank you.
Thank you, Timothy. Well,